You're listening to Buried Awake. These stories are works of fiction created for immersive listening. If you're here to relax or to be unsettled, you're in the right place. The first alert came through at 2:17 a.m. It wasn't loud. That was the strange part. No siren, no vibration, no sharp chime slicing through the dark. Just a soft, hollow tone that felt less like a sound and more like pressure, like something gently pressing against the inside of my skull until I opened my eyes. So my phone was on the nightstand, face up, glowing red. I remember thinking for a split second that it must be a weather alert. A storm, maybe. Tornado warnings had been getting more frequent lately, and I'd left emergency notifications enabled after a bad scare the previous year. But the banner didn't look right. It didn't say National Weather Service. It didn't list a county or a time window. It didn't even have a recognizable icon, just a red bar across the top of my screen and a single line of text beneath it. Emergency alert. Someone has entered your home. I sat up so fast my vision blurred. For a moment, my body didn't know what to do. Heart racing, mouth dry, ears straining to catch any sound beyond the hum of the fridge and the low hiss of air moving through the vents. My apartment was small, 1 bedroom, 1 bathroom, kitchen and living room combined into a narrow rectangle. There wasn't much space for someone to hide. I reached for the phone, my fingers cold and clumsy, and stared at the alert again. No address, no source, no instructions, just that sentence. Someone has entered your home. I slid out of bed and stood there barefoot on the carpet, listening. Nothing. No footsteps, no doors creaking, no whispers, breathing, movement. I checked the time again. Still, 2:17 a.m. The alert hadn't disappeared. It wasn't fading like normal notifications. It just sat there, solid and unmoving, like it wanted to be seen. I unlocked my phone. The alert expanded, filling the screen. No additional details, no seek shelter, no call emergency services, just a second line of text that hadn't been visible before. Do not investigate. That's when I felt it, that creeping sensation at the base of my spine. The one that tells you something is wrong in a way you can't articulate. Like your body is reacting to information your conscious mind hasn't caught up with yet. I didn't own any weapons, no bat, no knife within reach. The closest thing was a heavy ceramic mug on my desk, and the idea of confronting an intruder with that felt almost insulting. I took a step toward the bedroom door. The alert vanished. The screen returned to my lock screen background like nothing had happened. I stood there for a full minute, staring at my phone, waiting for it to come back. It didn't. I told myself it was a glitch, some weird bug. Maybe a test alert pushed out accidentally. I'd heard stories about emergency systems misfiring before. It wasn't impossible. I checked my email. Nothing. Messages. Nothing. Weather app. Clear skies. No missed calls. No follow-up alerts. I walked slowly through the apartment, turning on lights as I went. Bathroom first. Empty. Shower curtain still. Kitchen next. No open windows. No signs of forced entry. The front door was locked, chain untouched. Everything was exactly where it should be. I stood in the middle of the living room, feeling stupid and tense, and laughed under my breath. "Nobody's here," I said out loud, mostly to convince myself. I went back to bed. Sleep didn't come easily after that. I lay there staring at the ceiling, replaying the wording in my head. Not possible intrusion, not motion detected, Not even unknown activity. Someone has entered your home. So certain, so confident. I must have drifted off eventually, because the next thing I remember is my alarm going off at 7 a.m., the familiar tone jolting me awake. For a moment, I forgot about the alert entirely. Then I reached for my phone and saw the battery. 100%. That was odd. I never charged my phone overnight. I'd stopped after waking up once to a swollen battery and a phone so hot it burned my hand. Since then, I plugged it in while getting ready in the morning and topped it off during the day if needed. I was sure it had been around 40% when I went to bed. I unlocked it. No notifications, no alerts, battery health normal. I shook my head, chalked it up to bad memory, and got ready for work. The second alert came through at 11:42 a.m. I was sitting at my desk, half listening to a meeting about quarterly projections, when my phone lit up again. Same red banner, same hollow tone. This time, the message was shorter. Emergency alert. Your front door will open in 30 seconds. My stomach dropped. I looked up instinctively, even though my front door was 2 miles away. I grabbed my phone, thumb hovering over the power button. The alert expanded. Do not attempt to stop it. I stood up so fast my chair rolled back into the wall. A few coworkers glanced over, annoyed. I muted my mic, heart hammering, and counted in my head. 28, 29, 30. Nothing happened. No call, no follow-up alert, no confirmation. I checked my apartment's smart lock app. The door log showed an entry. 11:42 a.m. Unlocked, relocked. No manual input, no remote command from my account. I stared at the screen, my mouth dry. I lived alone. No roommates, no pets, no cleaners, no one with access. I locked my phone and shoved it into my pocket, my hands shaking. That's when I realized something else. My phone hadn't been on silent, and yet nobody else had heard the alert. We'll continue the escalation exactly as planned. I walked out of the meeting like I'd forgotten something important, because that's the only excuse my face could produce. In the hallway outside the conference room, I opened my phone again and replayed the door log like it was going to change. Unlock, relock. 11:42. The entry looked identical to the times I'd unlocked it myself. Same icon, same formatting. Like the system believed I had done it. I tried to call my building's front desk, straight to voicemail. I tried again. Same thing. Then I called my neighbor, Cameron, the only person on my floor I'd spoken to more than twice. We weren't friends, not really, but he'd once signed for a package when I wasn't home. That was enough to have his number. It rang 3 times, then picked up. "Hello?" he said, slightly breathless, like I'd interrupted him mid-movement. "Hey, it's me, from 4B. Sorry, weird question. Could you check my door, like, right now, just see if it's normal?" There was a pause. Not the kind where someone is thinking, the kind where someone is listening. Then Cameron said, "Your door's open." My throat tightened. "What?" "It's open," he repeated, quieter. "Not wide, like a crack, but it's open." I felt an electric cold shoot through my arms. "Can you?" I started, then stopped. The alert had said not to stop it. I didn't know what that meant, but now it was sitting between my ribs like a warning label. "Cameron," I said, "do not go inside." Another pause, longer. He exhaled. "Yeah, no, I'm not going in there. No. Do you want me to close it?" I stared at the gray carpet under my feet. I could hear my own breathing, shallow and fast. If I said yes, and something happened, I'd never forgive myself. If I said no and someone was inside, I'd never forgive myself either. I don't know, I admitted. Just stay there. Don't touch anything. I'm going to call the police. I already did, he said. That made my stomach twist. What do you mean you already did? I got a weird... He hesitated, and when he spoke again, his voice was different, tight, uncertain. I got a message. My mouth went dry. What kind of message? Like a notification, emergency thing. He sounded embarrassed saying it. It said, "Do not close the door. Do not enter." The hallway around me felt too bright, too normal. What the hell is this? I whispered. I don't know, he said, but I'm not touching it. Police said they'll send someone. I hung up without saying goodbye. I stood there outside my office's glass door, phone in hand, and realized I was shaking hard enough that the screen wobbled. If Cameron had received an alert too, it meant this wasn't just my phone, or my account, or a glitch. It meant something was broadcasting, and it knew who was near my door. I opened my lock app again, the log updated. 11:46 a.m. unlocked. I stared at it. My front door was already open. Why would it unlock again? Unless someone was doing it from inside, unless the system was being toyed with. My phone lit up as if answering. Same red banner, same hollow tone. Emergency alert. You have 4 minutes to get home. My heart lurched. There was a second line, smaller, like a footnote. Do not call anyone. I looked down the hallway toward the break room. People were laughing. Someone was microwaving something that smelled like burnt cheese. A printer beeped somewhere. Everything in my world was continuing like normal. And on my screen, something was giving me instructions, like it owned me. I tried to power my phone off. I held the button down. The slider appeared. I swiped. The screen went black. For half a second, I felt relief. Then the screen came back on. Not the lock screen. Not the Apple logo. Not any reboot animation. Just the emergency banner, as if the phone had refused to obey. Do not turn this device off. My fingers went numb. I tried again. Longer. Harder. Same result. The phone acted like it was humoring me, letting me pretend I had control, then snapping back like a leash, tightening. I went to my car. I didn't tell my manager, didn't explain, didn't clock out. I just walked out of the building with my laptop bag and keys. And the whole time I had that sick certainty that if I delayed, something would change. In the car, my hands slipped on the steering wheel because my palms were sweating. As soon as the engine started, the phone buzzed. No, not buzzed. It didn't vibrate. It pulsed like a heartbeat. New alert. Emergency alert, do not speed. I stared at it. What? I said out loud, alone in the car. It didn't answer. I pulled out of the lot and drove exactly the speed limit, eyes flicking between the road and the phone. Every red light felt personal. At the second intersection, my phone lit again. Emergency alert, do not look at the passenger seat. My chest tightened. The passenger seat was empty. I knew it was. I had gotten in alone. I had seen the seat. I had thrown my bag on the floorboard, and yet my neck locked up like it was bracing for impact. My eyes wanted to flick sideways so badly it hurt. I forced them forward. The urge got stronger, like the warning itself was pulling my attention. Do not look. Do not look. Do not. My phone went dark again, then flashed another alert so fast it felt like a blink. Too late. The temperature in my car dropped. Not gradually, not like the AC kicked in. Dropped like someone had opened a freezer. My breath fogged, briefly, in front of my face. I gripped the steering wheel so hard my knuckles whitened and kept my eyes locked on the road ahead. I could feel something beside me. Not a weight, not a shape, just presence. Like an invisible person leaning close enough that the air changed. I wanted to scream. I didn't. I drove. Every street felt longer than it should have. Every turn was too slow. I kept expecting the phone to tell me to do something impossible, something that would prove it wasn't just watching. Then 2 blocks from my apartment, my phone displayed a new alert. Emergency alert. Do not go inside when you arrive. I swallowed hard. In the distance, I could see my building, and I could see my door, even from the sidewalk. It was open wider now, and Cameron wasn't in the hallway anymore. There was a police cruiser parked out front, idling. My stomach twisted with relief so sharp it almost made me dizzy. But as I pulled up, my phone lit again. Emergency alert. They can't help you. I parked, got out, and walked toward the entrance on legs that didn't feel like mine. A uniformed officer stood in the lobby speaking to the front desk. Another stood near the elevator, writing something on a small notepad. They looked normal, calm, routine. I approached, forcing my voice to work. "Hi," I said. "I'm in 4B. I think someone broke into my apartment. My neighbor said the door was open." The officer near the elevator looked up. His eyes landed on me and stayed there half a second too long. Then he nodded. "Name?" I gave it. He checked his notepad. "Yeah," he said. "We got a call." "Did you go in?" I asked. He hesitated. "Just a fraction." "We checked the door," he said carefully. "Didn't go inside." "Why not?" I asked. And the moment the words left my mouth, I knew the answer. Because they got the alert too. The officer's eyes flicked to my phone in my hand, like he couldn't help it. Then he looked away. "We're waiting for backup," he said. "Protocol." "Protocol for what?" I asked, my voice rising. He took a breath, measured. "Have you received any messages today?" My stomach dropped through the floor. I stared at him, and he stared back. And for a second, the lobby felt like a stage set. Like everyone was playing their part while something else watched from above. "Yes," I whispered. He nodded once, grim. "Okay," he said. "Then listen to me. Do not go inside, and do not—" His radio crackled. Not a voice, not static. A hollow tone. The same tone my phone made. Both officers froze. The officer in front of me slowly brought his radio closer to his ear, as if he expected dispatch. Then a voice came through. Not dispatch. Not human. It sounded like someone speaking through a mouthful of water, each syllable slightly delayed, stretched, and it said, "Emergency alert, he is here." The officer's face drained of color. My phone lit up at the exact same time. Same banner, same words. "He is here." And from somewhere above us, somewhere on the 4th floor, my apartment door creaked wider. The sound was subtle, but it carried. A slow, deliberate creak, like wood flexing under careful pressure. Not rushed, not forced, the kind of sound that suggested intent. Both officers heard it. I could tell by the way their shoulders tensed at the same time. "That came from upstairs," the younger one said, already knowing the answer. The older officer didn't respond. His eyes were locked on the stairwell, jaw tight, hand hovering near his radio, but not touching. My phone buzzed again. I didn't want to look. I looked anyway. "Emergency alert, do not use the stairs." I swallowed. The elevator dinged softly behind us, announcing its arrival on the ground floor. The doors slid open with a cheerful chime that felt grotesquely out of place. My phone pulsed once more. Emergency alert, use the elevator. The older officer exhaled through his nose, slow and controlled. You seeing this too? He asked me quietly, without looking away from the stairwell. I nodded. Good, he said. Then you're going to stay right here. No, I said immediately. The word came out sharper than I meant. That's my apartment. That thing, whatever it is, it's there because of me. He finally turned to look at me. His eyes weren't scared. They were tired. Listen to me, he said. I don't know what this is, but I know one thing. Every time someone gets instructions from something they don't understand, and they follow them without question, it ends badly. As if on cue, the lights in the lobby flickered. Just once. Then again. The elevator doors stayed open. My phone vibrated harder this time, like it was angry. Emergency alert! If you do not comply, others will. The younger officer's radio crackled again. Same wet, distorted voice. Non-compliance detected. The younger officer flinched. Sir, he whispered. What the hell is that? The older officer made a decision. All right, he said. We do this on our terms. He stepped toward the elevator and hit the button for the 4th floor. My phone screamed, not a tone, a full blaring alarm, loud enough that the front desk clerk yelped and ducked behind the counter. Red text filled the screen. Critical error, do not ascend. The elevator doors began to close anyway. The younger officer swore and jumped inside. The older officer grabbed my arm. You're not coming, he said firmly. I shook my head, panic surging. I have to. It keeps telling me what to do. It's because of me. Exactly, he said. Which means if you're there, it has leverage. The elevator doors slid shut with a final soft thump. The car began to rise. The lobby fell silent. For 3 seconds, nothing happened. Then my phone vibrated again. The screen went black. I felt my stomach drop. No, I whispered, tapping it. No, no. The screen came back on. But the interface was different. No icons, no lock screen, no emergency banner, just a live camera feed. My breath caught. It was my hallway, 4th floor. The camera angle was wrong. Too high, tilted slightly downward, like it was mounted near the ceiling. My apartment door was wide open now. Inside, the lights were off. The hallway carpet shifted, not footsteps, dragging. Something moved just beyond the doorway, out of frame. The elevator dinged. The 4th floor. I watched, frozen, as the camera feed showed the elevator doors slide open at the end of the hall. The younger officer stepped out first, weapon drawn. The older officer followed. My phone vibrated with a new message. Observation mode active. The officers advanced slowly down the hall. Their footsteps echoed faintly through my phone's speaker, delayed by half a second, like bad audio sync. They stopped outside my apartment. The younger officer glanced back at his partner. You feel that? He murmured. Yeah, the older one replied. Like pressure. Inside my apartment, something shifted again. The phone zoomed in slightly on its own. I didn't touch it. The older officer reached for the light switch inside the doorway. The moment his finger brushed the wall, my phone vibrated violently. Do not turn on the lights. The officer flipped the switch anyway. The hallway light inside my apartment flickered on. For a split second, everything looked normal. Shoes by the door, coat rack, coffee table. Then the light flickered again, and the space between objects stretched. The walls bowed inward like they were breathing. The shadows didn't match the light source anymore. They leaned in different directions, pooling unnaturally along the ceiling. The younger officer whispered something I couldn't hear. The older officer stepped inside. The camera feed followed him. The moment he crossed the threshold, the door behind him slammed shut. Hard, the feed jolted. The younger officer spun, grabbed the handle, and yanked. It didn't budge. He slammed his shoulder into it. Nothing. My phone displayed a new line of text over the video. "Entry registered," the younger officer shouted. "Miller, open it! Open the—" The lights went out. Total darkness. The video feed didn't cut. Instead, it adjusted. Night vision. Grainy green shapes filled the screen. I could see the younger officer pounding on the door, panic breaking through his training. Inside the apartment, something moved. A shape unfolded from the corner of the living room ceiling, not dropped, unfolded, like it had been pressed flat against the surface and was now remembering how to be three-dimensional. It was tall, too tall, limbs bending the wrong way, joints reversing as it lowered itself toward the floor. Its head scraped the ceiling lightly, like it was testing the space. The younger officer saw it. He froze. His mouth opened. No sound came out. The thing turned its head slowly, deliberately, and looked directly into the camera, directly at me. My phone buzzed one final time. "You should have followed the rules." The feed cut to black. In the lobby, the older officer's radio hit the floor. Static poured from it. The front desk clerk was crying. Someone screamed from the stairwell. And my phone, now dark and silent, displayed one last line of white text before shutting itself off completely. "Episode still in progress." The building went into lockdown 5 minutes later. That's what the automated announcement called it anyway. A calm, synthetic voice echoed through the lobby speakers, repeating the message in 3 languages, while red emergency lights began to pulse along the walls. "Please remain where you are. Assistance is on the way." No one believed it. The stairwell doors slammed shut one by one, metal bolts sliding into place with a deep, mechanical clunk that reverberated through the floor. The elevator panels went dark. The front entrance sealed itself with a steel shutter that dropped from the ceiling, slamming into the marble floor hard enough to make the glass rattle. I stood in the center of the lobby, numb, my phone dead in my hand. The older officer, the one who'd stayed behind, was gone. I hadn't seen him leave. I hadn't heard him leave. But his radio was still on the floor where it had fallen, hissing softly with static. Then it clicked. A voice came through, not distorted this time, clear, calm, almost friendly. "Containment protocol underway." The front desk clerk sobbed openly now, crouched behind the counter with her hands over her ears. A man near the stairwell started pounding on the sealed door, screaming for someone to open it. His voice cracked, raw and hoarse, but the door didn't move. The lights flickered again. This time, they didn't fully come back. Half the lobby dropped into shadow, split diagonally like someone had dragged a blade of darkness across the room. The emergency lights continued to pulse, but they didn't illuminate the shadowed side properly. The light bent around it, leaving a dark wedge where nothing seemed quite solid. I took a step back. The shadow moved, not like a shadow should. It peeled itself away from the wall, separating cleanly, gaining depth and weight. A figure formed, not the same one from my apartment. This one was broader, heavier, its outline jagged like it had been assembled incorrectly. Its limbs were too short for its torso, shoulders hunched unnaturally high. Its face, if you could call it that, was smooth, featureless, except for a vertical slit where a mouth should have been. The slit opened. A voice came out, my voice. "I'm sorry," it said. I staggered back, heart hammering so hard I thought I might black out. The thing took one step forward. The floor creaked under its weight. Behind me, someone screamed. I turned just in time to see the man at the stairwell get yanked backward, his feet lifting off the ground as something invisible dragged him into the darkness beyond the sealed door. His scream cut off abruptly, like a switch being flipped. The clerk fainted. The shadow thing tilted its head, studying me. "You were warned," it said, still using my voice. "You were given instructions." I shook my head, tears streaming down my face. "I didn't know," I whispered. "I didn't know what it was." "Incorrect," it replied. "You knew you were being guided." The air felt thick now, heavy, like the pressure before a storm. Breathing took effort. Every inhale burned. From somewhere above us, a slow, rhythmic thumping began. Not footsteps. Too slow, too deliberate. Each impact made the ceiling shudder slightly, dust raining down in thin streams. Whatever was upstairs was moving again. The thing in front of me extended one of its arms. The joints bent backward as it reached out, fingers elongating, splitting at the tips into thin, twitching strands. "Observation phase complete," it said. "Correction phase beginning." I bolted. I didn't know where I was going. The building layout felt wrong now, stretched and warped. Hallways longer than they should have been. Doors appearing where none had existed before. I ran past a maintenance door that stood wide open, darkness yawning inside. Something whispered my name from within. I kept running. The emergency lights flickered faster now. There! Pulsing, accelerating, until it felt like the building itself had a heartbeat. I skidded around a corner and nearly collided with someone. The older officer. He looked wrong. His uniform was torn, soaked dark with something that wasn't blood. His eyes were wide, unfocused, darting left and right like he was tracking things I couldn't see. "They're not ghosts," he rasped. "They're processes." "What?" I gasped. "They correct anomalies," he said, grabbing my arm with surprising strength. "People who don't follow the flow, people who resist." Another thump echoed from above, closer now. "They start small," he continued. "Warnings, messages, guidance. Then," he swallowed hard, "then they escalate." The lights above us went out completely. Total darkness. For a moment, there was nothing but our breathing. Then a soft glow appeared ahead of us. A doorway, not a real one. It hovered in the air, rectangular, its edges shimmering like heat haze. Words appeared across it, floating in pale blue text. "Final compliance required." The officer let go of my arm. "That's your exit," he said quietly. "Not mine." "I won't leave you," I said. He gave a hollow laugh. "They already fixed me." Behind us, something scraped against the floor, slow, heavy. The officer stepped back into the darkness, raising his radio. "Tell them," he said. "Tell everyone." The shadow surged forward. The doorway pulsed brighter. I hesitated for half a second longer, then I stepped through. I woke up on my living room floor. At first, I thought it had all been a dream. The lockdown, the shadows, the thing wearing my voice. Morning light spilled through the blinds, cutting the room into familiar shapes. My couch, my coffee table, my phone lying a few feet away, screen dark. I sat up slowly, every muscle aching like I'd run for miles. The TV was on, muted. A news ticker crawled along the bottom of the screen. Unidentified incident at downtown office complex. Authorities decline comment. I reached for my phone. It powered on instantly. No cracks, no dead battery, no missed calls, except one notification, a system alert. Time-stamped 2:17 a.m. Guidance successful. Anomaly resolved. Thank you for your cooperation. My stomach dropped. I deleted it immediately. The phone vibrated again. Another alert replaced it. Deletion not advised. I stood up, backing away from the screen. The TV volume turned itself up. A reporter stood outside the office building I'd been in, cordoned off with police tape, emergency vehicles lining the street. The camera angle shifted, panning toward a row of dark windows on the upper floors. Officials are calling the event a containment failure, the reporter said. While no bodies have been recovered, several individuals are listed as missing. Surveillance footage from inside the building has been deemed unreleasable. My reflection stared back at me from the black glass of the TV screen. Except it didn't blink when I did. I turned away. In the bathroom, my mirror fogged over as soon as I stepped inside, even though the shower hadn't been used. Words slowly traced themselves into the condensation. You were chosen because you listened. I wiped the mirror clean with shaking hands. The words came back, this time closer to the glass, pressed from the other side. I didn't go to work that day, or the next. Every device in my apartment behaved strangely. Apps rearranging themselves, calendar events appearing for places I'd never been, reminders popping up with vague instructions. Stay inside. Observe patterns. Do not interfere. I stopped answering messages, stopped posting, stopped leaving. At night, I could hear movement in the walls, not rats, not pipes. Something heavier, something patient. Weeks passed, then months. The world outside kept moving, but I felt out of sync with it, like I was half a second behind reality at all times. Conversations lagged. Sounds arrived late. Sometimes people would respond to things I hadn't said yet. I started noticing others like me, strangers on public transit who stared too long, cashiers who hesitated before handing over change, like they were waiting for permission, people who flinched when their phones buzzed. We never spoke. We didn't have to. One night, as I lay in bed staring at the ceiling, my phone lit up one last time. No sound, no vibration, just light. A message appeared. New observation phase initiated. You will assist. I typed back before I could stop myself. How? The reply came instantly. You will guide them as you were guided. Outside my window, across the street, I saw a man standing under a flickering streetlight, staring down at his phone with a confused expression. His screen glowed the same pale blue as mine had. He looked up. Our eyes met, and I knew. The system was still running. It always would be. And somewhere, deep inside the city's walls, something was learning how to sound more human every day. If you made it this far, thank you for listening. If stories like this keep you awake at night, consider subscribing to Buried Awake. New stories arrive every week. And once you start noticing the patterns, it's hard to look away.